Okay, I'm going to explain a little bit further what I meant in that last video where I said you count calories but you don't count calories or something like that. I made it kind of sound confusing and I want to clarify that up here. So you do set your total calorie intake, and this is for those of you who are within 20-25 pounds of your goal weight. So you do want to set your total calorie intake for the day, and I think in the last video I used it as an example, the 1500 calories. So if we have 1500 calories, that's all that you're going to do for calories. You're going to set your total caloric intake for the day. But then beyond that, you're going to find out how many grams of each of the 3 macronutrients you're going to take in. So how many grams of carbs, how many grams of fat, how many grams of protein, which is based off what you've decided your ratios are going to be for each. So in this case, made a pretty simple 40-30-30 split. If you do the math, you're working with 1500 calories. 40% of 1500 is 600 calories. Each gram of carbohydrate is worth 4 calories. So divide that by 4, you get 150 grams of carbs for the day. Do the same thing, 30% of 1500 is 450 calories. Each gram of fat is worth 9. So you're going to divide that and you get 50 grams of fat. Do the same thing, 30% of 1500 is 450 calories. Each gram is worth 4 calories. Divide that by 4, you get 113 grams of protein. So this is what I mean by the work is done for you. Because if you take in 150 grams of carbohydrates, 50 grams of fat, and 113 grams of protein, you're going to consume 1500 calories. That simple. But the beauty is, and this is where that power lies, you're not just going to take in random 1500 calories, you're going to be doing it in 40% carbs, 30% fat, and 30% protein. That is where the power is. Knowing what those ratios are and maybe eventually manipulating those ratios around to obtain fat loss. So I just threw up a mock meal here, which is not that exciting. Simply chicken, black beans, and some broccoli. I hope you'll be much more creative than that, but this is simply for illustration purposes. So if you eat this meal right here, altogether you're eating 22 grams of carbohydrates, only 2 grams of fat, and 28 grams of protein. So, pretty simple. You've chipped away. If you were starting off your limits 150 grams of carbs for the day, you've just consumed 22 of them. If you have a limit of 50 grams of fat, you've just consumed 2 of them. If you have 113 grams of protein, with this meal, you just consumed 28 of them. So you know how many is left for the day. Construct your meals accordingly. That is the power, because if you eat a meal like this and several meals that incorporate all kinds of different foods and you come up with these totals in grams, it's automatically going to be right close to 1500 calories. Now this isn't perfect. The closer you stick to it, the better, but it's more than sufficient to have a baseline to know how to adjust. And if you're sticking to that same thing, excuse me, you're going to get results. It's that simple. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying think in grams, not in calories. You don't look at this meal and say, how many calories does this meal have? You look at this meal and you say, how many grams of my carbs am I going to eat? How many grams of the protein am I going to eat? How many grams of the fat am I going to eat? So that's where the power lies.